Hey guys, this is going to be somewhat of a different video than normal. I like the food industry, as can be shown. On my channel I've got Great British Menu videos I've uploaded earlier. Obviously I don't want to get in trouble for copyright, so these will be more reviews rather than actual, videos from the Bake Off. I don't want to be dealt with by any copyright strikes. As I said, I'm going to do reviews of the Great British Bake Off. For those of you unfamiliar and not of the United Kingdom, it is basically a baking show, making bread, cakes and biscuits, and obviously variations of them. This is the first time it has been shown on a different channel. Before it was paid by the license fee, which is basically all residents who have a TV have to pay a certain amount of money per year in order to access this channel. It's done by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, and now the rights have been bought for Channel 4's use. Let's first take a look at the new bakers. These are Kate, she's 29 from Merseyside. She is a health and safety inspector. It mentions she likes to recreate historic recipes, so this is useful that the show has kept to the food historian section of the Bake Off. Kate got into baking a couple of years ago, around the time she started to grow her own vegetables. Her other hobbies include blacksmithing, furniture restoration, yoga, and outdoor pursuits. The next contestant is Peter. He's a 52-year-old from Essex. He's a dad of two and an IT program manager. He claims that he started feeling unwell, blaming it on shop-bought bread, and so was inspired to make his own, as he would know what goes in there. He prides himself on making the perfect macaron from a Pierre Hermes recipe. Peter was originally from Brixton, moved to Nigeria when he was 7, and returned to the UK when he was 24. This should mean he has a variety of recipes to work with the mixed background he comes from. His hobbies include badminton, chess, and science. The next contestant is Julia, 21, from West Sussex. She is originally from Kemerovo, Siberia, but moved to the UK after meeting her British husband on holiday in Turkey when she was 17. Since arriving in Britain, she has gotten attached to the Great British Bake Off to the point where she was taking special classes on some of the most famous bakes over the last 3 years, so that she could hone her skills. Her desire for baking goes back to Siberia, where she saved up money to buy ingredients needed for each recipe. The next contestant is Chris, who is 50 years old, from Bristol. He is a software developer and takes a scientific approach to his bakes. He is self-confessed to be obsessed with the science behind baking and using different flavour combinations. This makes him a bit of a wild card, as I can imagine certain flavours will be brilliant, but others to be inedible. As someone who suffered cancer and lived it, he helps people currently affected with it, and enjoys sailing, travelling, writing, and visiting bakeries. The next contestant is Flo, 71, from Merseyside. She is the oldest baker to take part and is a family baker. She was one of 12 siblings and is a mum of 3 with her late husband, who she met while working in a sausage factory. Her husband passed 2 years ago, and her son encouraged her to get back into baking to act as a coping mechanism. Flo now supplies treats for her son's restaurant and provides for the family. She also enjoys singing and dancing with friends. The next contestant is Stephen, 34, from Hertfordshire. By developing his cooking, this helped Stephen lose 5 stone, as he knew what he was adding to food. He notes his mum as being the person that took him into the kitchen, stating that he was learning 25 years ago and he believes he comes from a strong line of women bakers. He prefers reading cookbooks to novels and loves to update his mum's old recipe books with modern ingredients. The next contestant is Chun Yan, 46, from North London. She came from Hong Kong, where her family was used to steaming their food, rather than baking them, so the oven was always used as a storage space. But within the last 10 years, this biomedical scientist learnt to bake. With her time off from her NHS shifts to hone her skills, she now lives in London with her wife Marion and has a significant job working as a laboratory research scientist at the Francis Crick Institute. The next contestant is James, 46, from Essex. He describes himself as a bold baking banker from Brentwood with a bad back, although his friends could consider him more like a bank robber than a banker. Sure, there is a pressure with the bake-off kitchen, but he has taken on much more dangerous challenges. He trained as a port driver for the Royal Navy Marines and was tasked with keeping ports clear during the Cold War. He banks in Canary Wharf. He bakes with ingredients from his allotment and spends time with his wife, 2 sons and 3 chickens. He credits his dad as his main influence, being shown the ropes 40 years ago. The next contestant is Sophie, 33, from Surrey. She has a master's degree in psychology from the University of Toulouse, a former British Army officer in the Royal Artillery, and is training to become a stuntwoman. When she volunteered to make a friend's birthday cake, she found out her natural ability to bake. Sophie also does track cycling, rowing, and teaching military boot camps. The next contestant is Tom, 29, from Edinburgh, and is to be expected. He loves making good shortbread, being Scottish and all. He comes from a family who loves baking with recipe books, passed down from his grandparents on both sides, and has the added advantage of being trained to bake by his home economics teacher, his mother. His interests include rugby, triathlons, marathons, skiing, horse riding, freshwater swimming, hiking, writing, and photography. The next contestant is Stacey, 42, from Hertfordshire. She is an ex-teacher. She learnt from her grandmother and developed her baking skills during her time at her university, and admits to being a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to her bakes. The mum of 3 likes to incorporate her Jewish background into her bakes, with her homemade challah made every Friday night dinner. The final baker is Liam, 19, from North London. He is the youngest baker in the competition and has been baking for 4 years, but he has been given the nickname Cake Boy from his university friends. Liam says he wants to make baking an acceptable pastime with his friends and the younger generation, so he bakes with his niece and nephews to encourage them. He feels that baking is a universal language that brings people from all backgrounds together. So guys, this is the end of the first video for the Great British Bake Off reviews. I will make other videos following this about the new presenters, the new judge, who is Prue Leith, the results, obviously, from each round of this week's episode, a special mention to the Star Baker and why I feel they became the Star Baker, the person who got removed from the show, and a small video of perhaps each week's video ratings. I will also make a video about the Bake Off Extra Slice, where they discuss to the loser why they were removed, why they felt they were thrown out. So guys, what do you think of these contestants? Who are you excited to see do well? Who do you want to fail? What would you like to see baked, such as perhaps your favourite country's baking item? And do you feel there has been any difference between the old and the new Bake Off? As always, leave your comments down below. Please like the video, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch the video.